Okay, in the final part of Unit 4, we're going to revise the importance of suppliers and working with them. In particular, we're going to look at terminology like logistics, distribution, and procurement. Now, these are not normally familiar words to us, but procurement basically just means buying. This is the department of the business that buys. So if you're the buying department, the procurement department, there's four key things you need to do. Number one, you need to decide what exactly it is we're going to buy. Now that will depend on the time of the year. It depends on trends and technologies and fashions. So if I'm a clothes shop, a classic example would be I want kind of darker colours and warmer materials in winter and lighter colours and lighter materials in the summer. That's my job to buy those things. Secondly, once I've decided what it is that I want, I need to then choose a supplier to buy them from. So that will depend on the quality of the supplies, how good the reputation of the supplier is, how expensive the supplier is. But it might also include things like the ethics of the supplier. Wouldn't want to buy from a supplier, for example, if they were damaging the environment. Third, once I've decided which supplier to buy from, I then actually have to do the ordering. Okay, so I've got to order through that supplier, trying to get the best deal possible for prices. And then finally, when those supplies arrive, I need to make sure I've got a warehouse to take the orders and put them safely into storage. And I need to have staff there who can take those deliveries regardless of the time of day it is. Okay, so procurement means to buy. You identify first what products and services do I need to buy, who am I going to buy them from, then you do the order, and then you take the orders. All right. Now the next part we're going to look at is logistics. Now very simple, logistics is all about how do I get my products from the business to the customer. I could do it myself, of course, if I have my own delivery vehicles and vans and things like this, or I could hire a logistics company like Eddie Stobart, and you'll see lots of those on the roads, where they basically all day and all night transport goods up and down the country. They're very quick and efficient, but of course they're going to be expensive, aren't they? Finally, when you're choosing a supplier, there's 5 things you need to keep in mind. Some of these are common sense, some of these less so. Okay. Number 1, the time scale. How quickly do you need the supplies? Right. So if you're a business that requires a certain amount of products at a certain time of day, and those don't arrive, if that's going to stop your production line, this is really, really problematic. So you need to think about a supplier that is going to be really time punctual. The next thing is reliability. I might be willing to pay more for a supplier if their service level is really reliable. If they say, okay, tomorrow you put an order in, the next day you get the supplies. They never let you down, they're never late, they're always punctual, the quality is always good, they're reliable. That's great. I might be willing to pay more for them. Supply chain is about the number of people involved in getting the supplies to you. And the longer the supply chain is, the more things could go wrong, because it only takes one person to get it wrong. And also, the more expensive the product probably is. So, if you think about it, some businesses buy supplies from all over the world. That might be lots and lots of different businesses, from farmers to transport companies to importers, involved in getting the product into the UK. You might prefer not to do that. You might prefer to buy from a local supplier because that supply chain is shorter and less could go wrong. Costs are never far from business, are they? You can't just go out there and buy the most expensive supplies because that's going to increase your costs. That might force you to put your prices up. But equally, you probably don't want to shop around for the very cheapest supplies either, if that means you're going to sacrifice quality and reliability and service. And service is the last one. Just remember that when a business buys from another business, that becomes a customer. Okay? If my business buys from your business, I'm a customer of your business. So will I get good service from your business? Will you look after me? Will you keep me up to date with my supplies? Can I get in touch with you easy if something's going wrong? Will you give me advice on supplies? Because the better the service, the better that relationship between the business and the supplier is going to be. And that just kind of wraps up this idea of good and bad customer service there. So that's everything now you need to know in operations. I hope that makes sense. Watch these videos as many times as you need them, and obviously complete your homework tasks and get those into your teachers as quickly as possible and to the best standard possible too. Well done.